Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a genuinely fascinating linguistic journey. We're going to look at how a single name, specifically the ethnic name Saaho, has morphed and shifted across centuries. It's this incredible story of language, translation, and honestly, how history itself records identity.
So think about this for a second. Have you ever traveled somewhere or, even just gone to your local coffee shop and had someone completely butcher the spelling or pronunciation of your name? It happens to the best of us, right? But now imagine that exact same game of telephone happening not just to one person, but to an entire ethnic group, and stretch that out over 300 years of recorded history. How does one group's name end up spelled over 6 entirely different ways, just depending on who happens to be holding the pen?
To answer that, we're going to lean on an incredibly detailed historical map. It's fascinating because it charts out this centuries-long translation mystery. We're talking a journey from ancient, local Afro-Asiatic roots all the way through European exploration, administrative red tape, and finally arriving at the modern academic spelling we use today. We're going to break this whole evolution down piece by piece so you can see exactly how this all played out.
Starting with Section 1, the identity mystery.
Okay, let's clear something up right away. When you dig into historical records and see a dozen different spellings, it's super easy to assume historians are talking about totally different tribes or factions. So the absolute most crucial point here is this. All the historical forms we're about to look at, they refer to the exact same group, the Saaho. The spelling differences are just the result of varying local languages, and later on, how European explorers desperately tried to interpret foreign sounds. Plus, it's really vital to note that this name doesn't come from a single historical founder or person. It's an ancient collective name for an ethnic group and their shared language.
Moving right along to Section 2, ancient local roots.
We're going to use a timeline as our guide today. We've got 5 distinct eras to cover, and we're starting right at the beginning, the pre-1700s, where these ancient local forms were documented in regional Afro-Asiatic languages way before any widespread European contact.
In these old local documents, written in Afro-Asiatic languages like Tigrinya and Tigray, we find this incredibly rich array of spellings. Just take a look at this variety. We have Saaho, Sahao, Shaho, Shahao, Shahu, and Shuho. Now, at first glance, I know that just looks chaotic, but to a linguist, this is an absolute treasure trove. These are not typos. They are incredibly precise phonetic markers that capture exactly how local populations were speaking.
Let's actually break down what some of these symbols mean, because it brilliantly illustrates how these local languages worked. Take the first form, Saaho, with that little line over the A. That simply denotes a long A sound, so Saaho. Next, you see a ha with a dot underneath. That represents this deep, guttural H sound, which is super common in Afro-Asiatic languages, but completely missing in English. Then we get forms starting with an sha with a tiny wedge on top. That's giving us an SH sound, making it shaho. You even see variations in the vowels, like shahu with a U at the end, or shoho with an O right in the first syllable. These early records were amazing at capturing the dynamic, breathing nuance of the spoken word in that region.
Which brings us to Section 3, enter the Europeans.
So, what do you think happens when someone from Europe, operating with a completely different alphabet and phonetic rulebook, suddenly hears these rich Afro-Asiatic sounds? Well, a clash happens. On one hand, you have these beautifully complex local sounds, like that deep guttural H or the drawn-out long ah. And on the other hand, you have European explorers who are literally restricted by their own phonetic systems. They are frantically trying to squeeze sounds they've never heard in their lives into the linguistic boxes they brought with them from home.
And that triggers our first major shift. During the famous James Bruce expedition from 1768 to 1773, we get what historians consider the oldest known direct European documentation of the name. And how exactly did he write it? Shiho. Bruce probably heard the local pronunciation, maybe something close to Shaho or Shaho, but his European phonetic filter translated it onto paper with an I in the first syllable. And just like that, the historical record gets Shiho.
Next up, Section 4, lost in translation.
As more European explorers and writers start visiting the region in the 18th and 19th centuries, we see a massive divergence in spelling. Suddenly, forms like shoho and shoho are popping up everywhere. Why? Well, because different European languages handle that sh sound entirely differently. An English writer is going to use sh to get shoho, but a German or Dutch writer, they might use sch to get shoho. They were all listening to the exact same people, but their native alphabets basically forced them to write it down differently. It's this perfect, almost textbook example of how the observer's own background completely alters the historical record.
Section 5. Modern Standardization.
As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, things had to change. The need for administrative and linguistic consistency was growing fast. You really can't have government documents or broad linguistic surveys using 5 different spellings for the exact same group of people. So a common, established form finally emerged, Saaho. This became the widely accepted standard across administrative, geographical, and linguistic circles. It was clean, it was simple, and it stripped away all that messy confusion from the European sh and shu variations.
But linguistics is always evolving, always pushing towards greater accuracy. In present-day, contemporary studies, you're actually going to see the spelling Saaho with a double A. Why add the extra letter? Because modern scholars want to be as faithful to the original indigenous pronunciation as humanly possible. Think back to our very first local spelling, Saaho, with a line over the A. By spelling it S-A-H-O, modern academics are essentially reviving that precise phonetic truth. That double A accurately denotes the long ah pronunciation, completely honoring the original spoken language while keeping it easy to type and read in modern print.
So let's pull our timeline up one last time to look at the big picture here. We started way back in the pre-1700s with beautifully diverse Afroasiatic sounds that captured exact vocal nuances. Then in 1768, James Bruce introduces a rather restricted European approximation with she-ho. The 18th and 19th centuries brought widespread spelling confusion based on everyone's different foreign alphabets. The 19th and 20th centuries finally brought some administrative settling with Saaho. And today, we've basically come full circle, utilizing a precise phonetic revival with Saaho to respect the ancient spoken word.
It really is an incredible journey, seeing how an ancient collective identity navigated the phonetic hurdles of foreign explorers just to survive into the modern academic era. It's a massive testament to the endurance of language. But I want to leave you with a provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. If a single name, Saaho, can hold 3 centuries of translation history, phonetic struggle, and cultural identity within its letters, how many other cultural histories around the world are currently hidden behind colonial misspellings? Keep that in mind the next time you look at a map. Thanks so much for exploring this topic with me.